This is writing 2203, Mr. Heppleston's class. There's Richard Paddock. Alright, and we're just about ready to have our video interview with Trevor McNevan from 1000 Foot Krutch and FM Static. Everybody's going to have their questions out.
Is that what you said?
Or about your own life.
Or about your own life.
Oh, okay, awesome. I think it's always different, you know. It kind of depends what's going on in life, and I think as a writer in general, you know, you kind of a lot of times are inspired by just watching life happen, you know, around you, and sometimes it's personal applications to that, and sometimes it's you know, something you've been inspired by watching someone else go through, good or bad, you know. And so yeah, I don't really think about that too much beforehand. It's usually something that kind of naturally happens, you know, or if it feels, sometimes you start with, you know, the idea, and sometimes you'll just start with lyrics that don't really necessarily fit into that topic yet, and sometimes you'll start with music, and so it depends for me, you know. But I don't usually think about that beforehand. It usually kind of just is a natural progression that, you know, kind of works itself out as you move along. Does that answer your question?
What?
Do you guys like, does anyone in the room songwrite at all, or do you guys like to mess around with original songs?
No one in this class just yet. There's a couple of singers, and oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so sorry, Trev, that's a bold-faced lie. Actually, we got a little vocal powerhouse. Let me just get her in the shot. That blonde girl right there. That's Caitlin. She in the shot? Okay. She's got a fantastic voice. She's all of 4'11" or something like that. and man, can she pump it out?
What's the main message behind all your music?
What's the main message? I think, you know, for TFK and FM Static, it's, I mean, they're kind of I see them as two completely different worlds, you know, and so I think for TFK, it's definitely kind of more of a, you know, a message of hope. I think an underlying theme of hope as far as a common thread through all of this stuff. You know, we're all Christian guys, obviously, and our faith is who we are, and we don't really think of it as a genre of music. It's just kind of more so who we are and comes out in our music. And so I think definitely, if there was to be one underlying thing, it would be, you know, to relay that message of hope. And FM Static is definitely kind of more, for me as a writer, more of the kind of lighter side of stuff, you know. And so yeah, with that, there's not necessarily a common theme. It's more kind of, you know, love and life and relationships and.
Is that? Who are some bands and artists that you'd love to write with and why?
Oh, awesome. I would love to write with Pink. I have some stuff that I'm working on that I think would be great for Pink and Alicia Keys. Those are a couple that I think would be a lot of fun to write with. And why? I think because they both have very kind of characteristic voices, you know. They both kind of have their own identity in their voice, and they know how to control their voice, and it just seems like it would be a lot of fun, you know, to work with them on something and kind of be able to take a song that you feel like is a great song and kind of add that vocal that can just take a great song to a whole new level even. And because a lot of times too, it kind of really can rely on the vocal. You know, you can have this song that you feel like is a great song, and get with a vocalist who's, you know, if maybe can't take that to the next level, and if you have someone that can, if you kind of see the difference, it's pretty black and white, and it can kind of take it from black and white to color, make it kind of come to life. And so yeah, there's a couple for sure that I would love to write with.
How and when did you get into writing music? And I still got my Oddball CD somewhere. I'll try and dig that up. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
Man, I remember, as far as writing music, I think when I was about 11, I remember sitting on like a picnic table in my parents' backyard listening to Public Enemy and doing like a pause mix which was just like on a tape deck because there was no CDs back then. We just had like, which makes me sound so old. We had a
all Wikipedia tape deck for them.
We had a double cassette deck, and you would take like the 20 seconds that there was nobody rapping on top of the beat, and you would just like multiply that section of the beat until it was like 2 minutes long, so you had an actual instrumental to rap over. And yeah, I remember sitting down with this pad and writing, I think the first thing for me, and it was a rhyme. Yeah, I grew up really, really into hip hop and still love it a lot. But yeah, so I think writing, I was probably 10 or 11. I remember doing that. But as far as music, man, I think when I was 8, my parents bought me Michael Jackson's Thriller record, like on vinyl, and still one of my favorite records. Just I remember like having this little mic with like a 1-inch cord attached to their stereo and just like singing that thing all day long, and had no idea what he was talking about, but it was pretty. I mean, Thriller, come on, undeniable. But yeah, so I was pretty young, man. I think it's always kind of been music as far as just what I love and my passion.
So what's spinning in your iPod? Well, give me a top 10. If you were to hit shuffle on the iPod, what would you hear?
Man, I'm all over the ice, from the new Kanye to I love Adele a lot. I think her new record is amazing. If you're into that, and who else on this too? Man, everybody. I just picked up the new Yellow Card. It's actually really cool. I like the new Foo Fighters stuff. It's sweet. Couple singles that they released. New Sum 41. Speaking of some Canadian love, those guys finally back, and it's a cool record. It's really cool. I think it's a lot cooler than the last one. And I don't know, man. Kind of all over the ice, buddy. I'm from country to hip hop, and I think I stay kind of inspired by all sorts of types of music, kind of working with country artists, rock artists, pop artists, and stuff like that. It kind of constantly kind of keeps you listening to different stuff, and I like it that way, you know. So I kind of jump around and definitely have musical ADD when it comes to that. But yeah, man. I'm actually, as far as country goes, man, Carrie and I next month are going to be writing for her record, and so that'll be. I've written a few things as far as country goes before, you know, a couple times, but that'll be kind of the first time really, you know, jumping into that. And so I'm excited, man. I think country music, as far as songwriting goes, you know, they're some of the best storytellers out there, you know, and I've always loved that about country. It's kind of like the art of storytelling and taking this idea that you want to portray and kind of simplifying it into lyrics for a song, you know. It's like having to say something so big with so few words, and so yeah, I'm excited about that, man. It'll be a fun challenge.
What advice would you give someone who's wishing to be famous?
What advice would you give someone who's wishing to be famous?
I mean, I would say, you know, to anyone kind of getting into music, that I think, you know, it's gonna. You gotta kind of make sure it's what you love and it's your passion, and let that drive you, and because that at the end of the day, you know, that's what's gonna kind of keep you doing it and keep you disciplined and keep you focused through the time that it takes to play your first show and kind of set up your first show and poster downtown and kind of spend time online generating as much buzz as you can, and through the years, it'll take you to kind of start building your fan base one show at a time. And so, I mean, I think practice is huge. I know it sounds cliche, but I think, like Paul said earlier, you know, more than ever, labels aren't signing acts or artists aren't translating well unless they're good live. And so I think kind of gone are the days, for the most part, of someone who can't really pull it off, who can't really sing it, who can't really play it, but will make that sound good in the studio. You know, I think the artists that are going to succeed, from step one are kind of more of the grassroots artists who are just going to be like, you know what, I'm not going to wait for some label to sign me. I'm going to go and do this myself. I believe I have something to say, and I believe I have a way to say it, and to just start making music, you know, whether it's in your basement or a garage band or whatever the case. But I think with the tools that we all have today, that you guys have, you know, with the internet and being able to write a song 1 minute and upload it the next is pretty incredible. You know, it's kind of, I don't buy into the like, well, I don't know, you know, it's just not coming together. I think it's really on you, you know, how much.
Why did you bother to let us, just students, to interview you?
Oh, okay. Did you catch that? Why did you bother to let little old students interview you?
Because I love Paul.
Thanks.
Catch that? Alright. Yeah, there are 2 other teachers that teach writing here, and they didn't get Trev from PFK. So. Alright.
Woot.
That was the honest answer. No, man, thank you guys so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. And I was gonna say, you know, for what it's worth, as a writer, because I know we're talking about writing and stuff, for anyone who's interested in getting into songwriting and stuff like that, I was just gonna say, I kind of look at, I'm a big fan of film. And to me, it's kind of like an escape outside of music, you know, and I feel like, you know, I look at songs much like a movie. You know, if you think about a song like a movie, when you're sitting down to write something where the opening sequence or the intro of the song needs to kind of really grab your attention, you know, it needs to be something that kind of grabs you, you know, and the first verse of the song should, you know, kind of introduce the storyline. And then, you know, the pre-chorus sets up the hook, you know, sets up the climax, I guess you could say. And then the chorus of the song is kind of that big payoff, you know, needs to be that big hook and that big payoff. And then the second verse kind of builds on the story, you know, builds from verse 1. And and when I say that, I look at it usually like musically it should build and lyrically as well. And then the same thing, you know, you kind of have the pre-chorus set up, the next climax to kind of keep things dynamic. And then the bridge of the song, I always kind of look at it, if you parallel it with movies, as kind of the twist, you know, just like, wow, we didn't see that coming. And then, you know, you kind of have the final chorus to kind of drive things home and add a little twist to that. But so just 2 cents on that for anyone who's interested in getting into writing and stuff. I do look at film and songs very much the same, and maybe that'll help you somewhere along the way.